The Road Warriors were the first of their kind. They were over-the-top bad guys posing as good guys.
They epitomize what success is in this industry because they dared to be different.
In the ring, out of the ring, in the gym, promo-wise, in-ring ability, charisma-wise, they had the whole package.
What I remember most about the Road Warriors is almost like Mike Tyson, the fear that they brought to their opponents.
Back then, I mean, I really believed they would knock somebody's head off with a clothesline. I thought I might see a decapitation.
I would say the Road Warriors had more imitators than any other tag team in the history of the business.
Every time I heard their music, it just gave me a chill because I knew I was in for the beating of my life that night.
You know, they were able to kind of redefine the villain and the hero with respect to sports entertainment back in the 80s.
The guys were big and they were strong and they were brute force, and it was just a real exciting time to be in the business.
If they respected you, they were your friends for life. I'll respect them for as long as I walk the face of the earth.
They really worked hard, they tried hard, they cared about our sport, and both in my eyes deserved all they got.
Hawk and I grew up, we were born and raised in Chicago. Our childhood was grew up like every kid does in the inner city in Chicago. You got the DL and all the trains and everything. You hate to say it's school hard knocks, but that's just the way it was. About the age of 8 years old, we moved to Minnesota in Minneapolis. We stayed in touch primarily. We went to two different high schools because we lived in two different parts of the city. I was kind of like right on the suburbs part. Hawk was still on the outskirts of North Minneapolis. We weren't that far away, about 8 miles. But you know, when you're growing up, you kind of drift apart. But we always stayed in contact and talked to each other. Here we are, a little bit of nostalgia. This is Hawk's old neighborhood here, Xerxes Avenue. Now, when Hawk lived here, you know, his dad, Art Hegstrand, Mike grew up with a school of hard knocks. You didn't mess around in the back of Mike's dad's car. If you did, it was, Hawk, behave yourself. Minneapolis is getting rough. Then I met Hawk. I hadn't seen him for a while, and I was in Ventura's gym. You know, I'm a young kid. I'm like 19 years old at the time. I'm about 280, and I was doing the incline. And I remember specifically because, you know, I heard, you know, Mike Hegstrand throughout the deals, you know, it was always Henry losing the football game 49-0, and Hawk was like, you know, 5-0 on their stands getting in fights, you know. And I'm doing incline, and I'm doing like 315 or 350 or something like that on the incline bench, and I'm doing it for reps. I did like 12 or 15. He looks at me and he goes, "You're not right." He goes, "A young kid should not be doing that." He goes, "I'm 4 years older than you, and I can't do that." And he just open hands and goes, whack, slaps me in the chest. And I looked at him, and I said, "Man, you sure grew," because the last time I saw him, he was like about 180-pound punk. Now there he is, about 245, and I was about 280. Now we're here in Plymouth, Minnesota. This is where Hawk and I started out. From age of 21 on up, we started working out here at the gym. The gym has produced a lot of top athletes, as well as Minnesota Vikings and everything else. We had not only Hawk and I, but you had Kurt Hennig, you had Ravishing Rick Rude, you had Smash Demolition, Barry Darsow, John Nord, the Berserker, and a lot of Olympic athletes and everything. The gym is the top training center in the state of Minnesota. This is the home of the Road Warriors. This is where it all began.
We used to train here at the gym, and when I first met Animal, he was probably about 185 pounds, and we just started training together. And then Hawk kind of came in the picture too, because we all trained at the gym. And once we all got together and trained here at the gym, that's when we all grew, and we became best friends.
Both were very dedicated workoutaholics, let's say. Animal always the stronger, and he would always let Hawk know that, and that would piss Hawk off, but Hawk would always come back with the better body, so it kind of was a great balance. Those guys used to sweat their off when they worked out.
Well, the gym is synonymous for just producing great athletes. I mean, when I was a young kid working out after Jesse Ventura's gym, Jim Youngner, who owns the gym, partnered up with Hawk and I and said, "Hey, you guys interested in backing me and doing this new project?" So Hawk and I said, "All right, we'll do it." So we did it it must be about 15 years ago now, we did the gym. And it quickly developed in the #1 training center in the Midwest, in the Twin Cities especially. This is kind of the gym wall of fame here. As you can see, some of the top athletes around, not only top nationally known bodybuilders and powerlifters. You got pictures of Brock here, and you got Kurt Hennig, Mr. Perfect over there. You have Joan Hoffenberger, who competed in Miss Olympia. You got Scott Norton, who wrestles out in New Japan right now. He went to high school with Hawk, as a matter of fact. And then you got Jesse DeBody's pictures up there. You got Road Warrior shots up there. And a lot of powerlifting stuff, wrestling pictures. This is the Wall of Fame. If you're famous in the sports world, you'll make the gym wall. Everybody's training schedule is a little different, you know. We would do a 4-day-a-week program, 6-day-a-week program. We would, overall, since the beginning of the gym, we've started training here, so over 20 years. You know, so it's been a long time. This is a big part of our life, this gym. Right here is the rack, where Hawk and I, for a lot of magazine covers, the Japanese went nuts over it. It was a rack that we had 950 pounds in, and we were doing shrugs. Shrugs are basically you just pick up weight and shrug it up. But do that. That's 2 1/4. Do it 950. Oh, man. Bouncing was a trip. At first, we worked at some of the bars that probably weren't your more upscale bars. I worked at a place called First Avenue that Prince owned, the singer Prince, and it was kind of a disco place, but during the day it was a strip joint, and at night it was a disco. Figure that out, right? Dancing stands. A place called Moby Dick's, you know. And, you know, 2 or 3 people getting shot a week. And so, yeah, I didn't want to make my career bouncing at that bar, because I know eventually if I was kicking somebody out, I was going to get shot or stabbed at one time or another. Then we worked at a place called the Roaring 20s. We'd have a baseball bat sitting at the front door, and we'd be tapping on the door when somebody say, hey, you want to come in the bar? You want to sit at the bar? You want a table? Or you want to get out? And when they'd sit down, if they got a hand, you walked up to the table and you just slapped it on the table and said, listen, this is your first and last warning. The next one's going to be you. And that's just the way it was. You had to down there because there was a pecking order, and you had to establish respectability. Otherwise, people would just take advantage of you. Then we got to the place called Grandma B's.
And we all needed jobs, so we all got hired at the bar called Grandma B's.
Well, here we are at the infamous Grandma B's. It's a different name now, but this is where we all started. You had Barry Darsow, myself, Hawk, Rick Rude, John Nord. A lot of guys made it to the top of professional wrestling. This was our stop. This is where we met the trainer of champions, Eddie Sharkey, who was the greatest trainer in the world, but never got in the ring with you.
If you could imagine a bar where there's 2 levels and there's probably, you know, 2,000 people in this bar with live bands, and we had about 6 to 8 of us that were 300 pounds.
Right here where this fence is where we used to call that infamous tripwire.
And we used to have contests with these people that would fight in there. We'd throw them out the front door of the bar.
This fence wasn't here and that wire was here, and we tossed guys out. They would take bumps right over that wire, and actually it ended up hitting the fence sometimes.
And we'd have contests to see how many flips these guys would do over that cable.
I was a guy who would talk to the guy coming in the door, hey, you got your leathers on there, you got your colors, you know, bikers wear colors. You got to take your colors off or leave the bar. And before I could tell the guy to leave the bar, you know, Hawk would come across and nail somebody. You know, that was his attitude. That's the way he was. Grandma B's not your kiddie place to come in. It actually looks exactly the same. All right, it's been about 20 years, but now we're inside the infamous Grandma B's, now known as Gabby's. Now, there's a lot of history in this place. You know, everywhere in here, somebody, sometime, somewhere got out of hand, and we had to take care of it, and we had the manpower to do it. Up here used to be a stage where bands like Fragile and guys like Jigs Lee used to play, that Hulk Hogan himself would get up on stage here and play bass guitar. That's how popular this place is. When you get a guy like Hulk Hogan, who was the AWA champ at the time, beating up Nick Bockwinkel, used to come to this place when it was Grandma B's. Nobody got out of hand. When they did, we put them right back in line. Eddie Sharkey was a bartender there. His claim to fame was training, at that time, was Jesse the Body Ventura. And when he told us about the camp, we all looked at each other and said, wrestling camp? Man, I don't know if I want to get in a wrestling camp. I know. I said, there's a lot of things I don't know in this world, but one thing I do know, a lot of guys on there, I can beat up, you know, because that's all we were thought of, and that's all we were trained to do was to fight.
we used to watch wrestling all the time. We watched Vern Gagne wrestle and, you know, Larry the Axe Hennig and all these guys, and we all wanted to be professional wrestlers. And so we kind of talked Eddie into training us in too. And when we broke into the business, it was a little different than what everybody else went through. Eddie had an old church basement where they used to hold boxing matches, and this boxing ring was harder than the floor, let's put it that way.
All that it was railroad ties with plywood, with a carpet on top of it, with a canvas on top of that. Every time you hit the ropes on one wall, you would hit a cement wall. I got bone chips in my elbow to this day going through wrestling camp, where I'd hit the ropes and hit the wall with my elbow.
It was the worst ring you ever seen. When we first went down there, we thought, Eddie, this is the biggest rib I've ever seen in my life, you know. But we ended up, you know, he showed us the moves and we did everything. Pretty soon, we were doing everything that the guys do right now. I mean, flips and suplexes and everything on this ring. And every day we got out of that camp, we hurt so bad that we thought, what in the world are we going to be doing in professional wrestling? The rings better be better than this.
Eddie Sharkey he was notorious. He never got in the ring with any one of us. Oh, yeah, guys, that looks good. Now, here's a guy that worked and wrestled with Harley Race, Vern Gagne, a lot of world champions. And here we are. He's not getting in the ring with us because he knows we're hurting each other. We're probably going to hurt him, most likely, right? And I remember one time Barry Darsow and I did a spot where we ran and hit the ropes and we hit each other with a tackle. Well, Barry, you know, a lot of people don't know, was a world-class powerlifter at one time. Well, Barry comes, hits me at about 3:30 like a freight train. I remember my knee had dislocated, and what is a small bone, your tibia or fibula on the outside of your leg, was sticking out. And I thought it was just, I mean, it wasn't out of the skin, but it was sticking out. I dislocated it. There I am, limping and limping and limping, and walk outside, stepped on an uneven piece of concrete, pop, and popped back in. He said, what was that? I said, that was my knee. I said, but it's fixed. The next day, I went and did squats, never went to the doctor, went back to the gym. We went there 3 months straight, 5 days a week, and we really beat the heck out of each other.
We were at Eddie's camp. Ole Anderson came down to Grandma B's. And back then, we used to watch Ole on TV all the time. So when he came down and seen the size of all of us guys, he went to Eddie's camp and seeing how good we could move for big guys. And what he did was he recruited Animal first to Georgia Championship Wrestling. And when he went down there, he thought of the idea of the Road Warriors, and Hawk was really the next guy to leave out of the camp, and that's how Hawk ended up going over there.
While we're sitting down there in Atlanta, Ole said, get your stuff ready. So, you know, I went and I talked to Mike about it. I said, Mike, trust me, you know, I'll make some decisions on some stuff to where I kind of know what they want to be. They want us to be kind of bikers in a way. So I went and bought these leather chaps and these vests and these stupid gloves that had fringe on them and the biker hats. I felt like one of the village people, you know, but it was a biker theme. So we went down there and wore that for a little bit until Ole, and I think it was Bill Watts, says, listen, we want to make you guys different than everybody else. And so Hawk comes up with the brilliant idea, Animal, why don't you have a regular mohawk, and where you have a mohawk, I won't have hair and I'll have the double mohawk, so we can look like we can plug right into each other. I said, oh, wow, great, you know, not knowing that, you know, 22 years later, I'd still have to wear the same haircut, you know what I mean? And then they gave us the idea of the paint idea, but as far as the design of the paint, that was all up to what we wanted. At first, we ended up like a couple Indians with a couple stripes on our face, stuff like that, but then we got more creative, and Hawk called the face he called the Joker look, where he had the black deals that came over, the red V, and then I had the spider, which kind of stayed with me for about the next 15 years, you know. The original Road Warrior name originally came from the Road Warrior movie with Mel Gibson. A lot of the ideas from the leather jackets with the half shoulder pad on there and all the other stuff that we did, that's where a lot of that came from. So that's how the birth of the Road Warriors kind of started up.
Road Warrior persona, when they first started going to Georgia Championship Wrestling, that fit those guys just perfect. Because when we were down at Grandma B's training and, you know, bouncing at the bar and doing it, they were the Road Warriors in that bar.
And the Road Warriors moving out. They are the new National Tag Team Champions.
When the Road Warriors first busted on the scene in their early 80s, They were a real unique type of tag team. Then there were some questions about whether or not their style would make it in the world of professional wrestling. And all those doubters were certainly proven wrong.
I'm very proud of what the Road Warriors have accomplished. I'm very excited that two very strong, tough individuals, two nonconformists who aren't going to bend to the system or what the people want to see.
At that time in the business, to have young guys that were built like they were, and I mean, they were the real deal.
Y'all take a look, because we're walking death. We are walking death. We are the Road Warriors.
Everybody was scared of the Road Warriors because when they got in the ring, I mean, they tore it up. They made you work.
And they only know one speed, that's full speed. They only know one direction, and that is straight ahead.
A lot of the young guys that used to come wrestle at TBS, what is referred to sometimes as extras, the guys you used to see on TV when you were young and they never won, well, a lot of those guys were in mortal fear when they would get to TV and look at the sheet and find out that they were working with the Road Warriors today.
They would go to the wall where the matches would be posted and they'd have their fingers crossed. All of a sudden, at Road Warriors versus, and you just see their hearts sink.
You're brought in as fresh meat and you're fed to the Road Warriors.
Me and Arn Anderson are partners, and I just met Arn Anderson. And the Road Warriors, they play their song, and the Road Warriors come in, they do their whole deal, and the crowd's going nuts.
And these two monsters came walking in with the Mohawks.
And I looked at Arn and I said, Arn, I said, I just met you. But I said, I ain't getting in the ring with these guys. And he goes, you think I'm going to get in the ring with these guys? And that was the first time I met Arn. And we both stood outside and looked at these guys.
We wrestled the Road Warriors for 10 days, and it was absolutely the worst fist fight I've been in my entire life.
These two are as tough a combination as I've ever seen come down the pike. They are double dangerous at all times.
The old school, true wrestling styles and types that my brother and I portrayed against this new breed of professional wrestling, the brawlers, the street brawlers, the guys that go out and just fight and claw and scrape for a victory.
What they don't have in wrestling knowledge, they certainly make up for in brute strength.
So there was a big contrast, and it was a very successful contrast. It was kind of goes down as I think as some of the best feuds in the industry at that time.
I'll tell you something. Nobody in the world can touch the Road Warriors. Nobody beat them. That's right. It's easy. Everybody's easy when we take them.
There was no actual team like them. Two big, huge monsters that did nothing but just eat up other wrestlers. They were physically dominant. They were pissed off. Neither Hawk or Animal at that time were actually very nice. Their attitudes and the way they worked were who they were.
Besides being tremendous athletes and superior physically, they have got or have developed a bent and twisted attitude.
They came out with two powerful guys in the Mad Max gear and were nothing but in your face, almost like Smash Mouth football. And that was a risk in the sense that, well, you know, what if people do dump on this? What if people, I don't think they ever had a problem thinking that people would not believe in their gimmick, because Animal and Hawk were who they were. They were two badass mother.
Twist them like peas. Everybody's gonna get squished like peas, so get used to it, because nobody can touch the Warriors.
Their style was very Smash Mouth.
And brother, they are Carnage Unlimited.
Their presentation was very much the same.
They have absolutely no mercy on any opponent.
Their repertoire was limited. Powerful. What they executed was powerful stuff.
They're the most vicious team I've ever seen, and I've seen quite a few.
They didn't run a lot of plays, but they ran them real well.
We're talking about a new wave in professional wrestling. I thought we were talking about the slimmer, trimmer athletes, but I tell you, these guys have slimmed down. They don't have too much body fat on them, and have they got mean streaks in them. Look at the hair, the painting their face. I mean, what happened to professional wrestling?
Going out there and doing the job and winning matches, winning belts. I think the first match they actually wrestled together, they won a belt.
They are indeed the National Tag Team Champions, the Road Warriors, and certainly their first appearance here on World Championship Wrestling is Well, most impressive indeed.
I'm sure it was an honor for them first time out. I mean, I'm sure there was a lot of jealousy too, going out there first time winning the belts, and that's where, you know, going back to them telling me stories about when they started out and how, you know, it was almost more of a shoot fight where they're going out there and fighting literally guys that are, you know, upset actually that they've pulled this out and done this and gotten so far so fast. And they had talked about guys, you know, attaching razor blades to gloves and things like that and trying to, you know, cut people. And I'm like,
were grown up on the streets, and they brought it right into the ring. And that's exactly what you can see.
I mean, these guys were literally wrecking machines. You would go to the ring thinking, are these guys going to kill me, or are they just going to have a match with me?
They roll roughshod over everybody just like a patent tank.
I wrestled these guys in Memphis in a match. It was myself and Austin Idol against the Road Warriors. I was known mainly for beating opponents with a pile driver. I gave a pile driver to Hawk. I jumped up and I turned around like, yeah, I knew that did it. And when I turned back around, there was Hawk standing on his feet, facing me eye to eye, and he just picked me up and body slammed me. I mean, you know, it's like the pile driver had absolutely no effect on him, and the fans were just stunned. And it was just one of those moments and one of those matches that can just be a defining moment in the guy's career.
When you see the Road Warriors fans, you're going to see, I think, one of the most outstanding teams that you've ever seen team together as a combination in tag team wrestling.
The Legion of Doom started forming. Who was a spoiler? King Kong Bundy, Jake the Snake Roberts, and Paul Ellering and the Road Warriors. Now, Hawk and I and Ellering called ourselves the Legion of Doom anyway. You know where we got that Legion of Doom from? From a Super Friends cartoon. Meanwhile, back at the Legion of Doom.
Road Warriors indeed, dangerous adversaries, masters of mayhem, no question about that. Part of the Legion of Doom.
Well, it became the two of us when Jake had left and went to the other part of the NWA, which was up with Crockett Promotions. And the spoiler left and went to Canada. They kind of saw the writing on the wall. The Legion of Doom was starting to shrink and shrink and shrink. And so here we were left with Ellering, Hawk, and I.
It's been survival of the fittest, and the Legion of Doom, as you can see, has survived very well. We alone stand on top of the wrestling world. It must always be remembered that history is written by the victors. What does not kill us only makes us stronger.
Paul Ellering was in the wrestling business, you know, a long time before we ever got in the business. In fact, he was trained by Eddie Sharkey, too.
Yeah, bleached blonde, precious Paul Ellering, and he was really going to be a talent, and all of a sudden, he destroyed one of his knees just really, really badly.
And Ole at the time said, you know, you're really good on the mic. He says, have you ever thought about managing? I automatically said, yeah, I've thought about it, because years ago, even before I was in this sport, I had a premonition dream that I was going to be a wrestling manager. And that was going to be my forte in this business. And I wasn't even in wrestling yet. I don't know how the mind works, but it was a premonition dream.
So he was smart into the business, and he told these guys what they needed to do and what they didn't need to do.
Tell him, Paul! You know, David, I think I can summarize it all by saying something I've said before. You don't have to be able to split atoms to figure this one out. The Legion of Doom wants it, because we'll do anything in the world to keep these belts.
I think Animal and Hawk learned a lot from Paul Ellering, because Paul had a little bit of as a seasoned veteran, and Paul was easy to step back and watch situations, not only in matches, but outside the ring.
There's Paul Ellering. He's directing this whole thing, the orchestrator.
And we'd work through matches, we'd work through interviews, and I'd tell them about the business and try to put them on that fast track to an education.
Paul Ellering was the glue of the Road Warriors, undoubtedly. Don't let anybody ever kid you.
Taking a look, and there is precious Paul Ellering, the Road Warriors manager.
Paul Ellering was to the Road Warriors was basically the straw that stirred the drink.
I think we need to talk about precision tonight. I think we need to talk about a team that's so devastating, other teams are afraid to show up.
Paul is a member of Mensa. He's a genius.
You are a pugnacious infidel, a miscreant.
Paul Ellering's the first wrestler I remember regularly reading the Wall Street Journal.
He'd be sitting in the locker room, everybody else would be reading Penthouse or whatever. He'd be reading the New York Times or the Wall Street Journal.
You see precious Paul Ellering there on the corner. Always has a copy of the Wall Street Journal in his hand, waving instructions, orchestrating for the pair.
I was a businessman, and I got into the futures markets and the commodity markets and was a big-time player there.
It was such a contrast to have a crazy, eccentric guy, and what you saw with Paul Ellering is what you got, because he is crazy and eccentric and very intelligent.
You know, Gordon, there's such a thin line between sanity and insanity, and there's come a time when Precious Paul must sort of look back and say, hey, maybe there's a chance that something cannot be controlled.
But with the Wall Street Journal with 2 Rottweilers right behind him.
And in addition to being the on-camera manager,
Paul took care of Animal and Hawk's business needs behind the scenes, in front of the scenes, their contractual negotiations.
At that time, Ellering was your manager's manager. Not a fake manager. Ellering did our plane tickets,
their cars,
hotels. The last thing you would want is for an angry Hawk and Animal, after the airport has lost their luggage, to go up to the Hertz counter and negotiate a rental car. Not a good scene.
He did their wrestling strategy.
Arranged our matches.
He helped them manage how they did their budgets.
I mean, he used to graph and chart futures investments. I mean, that was his hobby on the plane. We would look, and he would have 3 rows, all these graphs and charts, and he's got his protractor and his compass and his, you know, his miter, and everything out there, doing everything.
He was the brains of the whole outfit.
But Ellering, you're the mind, you're the brain behind it. We cut the brain off, the rest of the body's going to go, and that's what we're going to try to do.
Besides that, Paul Ellering is probably one of the finest human beings you'll ever meet, a solid human being, and he had nothing but their best interests at heart. And I think he was probably the calming effect in both those guys' lives.
He was a very stable, caring guy that kept those guys level-headed. They both had tremendous egos, as many of us do.
And it became like the 3 Musketeers. You know, it was all for one and one for all.
The Legion of Doom. That's the family. Ellering and the Hawk and the Animal.
And he was with them 24/7 on the road, trying to teach these 2 young kids out of Minneapolis who knew nothing about wrestling, very inexperienced, and took them to make them one of the most dominating teams in the business.
Wrestling fans, as I'm certain you well know, promoters here in the AWA never cease to bring you the biggest and best talent available, and they are already hard at work at bringing one of the most devastating tag teams you will ever see.
At that time, there got to be like a bidding war for talent between the WWE and the NWA and the AWA. And they were all trying to solidify their talent core, people that they could go with as far as promotion to see who's going to win this wrestling war.
If you didn't like the situation, then you didn't have to stay there long, because there were many people that would want your services.
And different teams would go to different places and meet new people, and that way you'd have everybody in the whole country know who you are.
it was good for the business because your stars then, their shelf life for a main event guy was extended immensely from the standpoint that he could go play a fresh audience every couple of years.
It was a big challenge to go to every different place and see if you could get as hot there as you were somewhere else.
At that time, Georgia Champion Wrestling was kind of in the toilet. It wasn't doing anything, no money, no business. And we helped it out, and the company started rising, and it grew to new heights. And then that's when we came to the AWA.
We've traveled the world over and stood on top of the wrestling world.
And we come to where the competition is the keenest. That's why we've come to the AWA.
Animal and Hawk, here we go.
Oh, my!
I've been wanting to see this team for a long time, Rod, and I'm sure a lot of other people have. They are devastating.
Terrorizing opponents wherever they go.
First of all, the Road Warriors were huge. Everybody was scared of the Road Warriors. They had been annihilating teams across the United States.
It's obvious who rules the AWA. The Road Warriors do. We rule the AWA. We rule everywhere we go.
I think the reason that they initially left Georgia Championship Wrestling and went to the AWA was because it was home for them. They grew up watching the AWA.
The AWA, the greatest body of wrestling, needs the greatest tag team to ever step into the squared circle.
The Road Warriors coming back to Minneapolis is probably the greatest thing that they could have done, because starting out here in Minneapolis and doing the stuff that they did to become professional wrestlers, and finally coming back to their hometown, and as soon as you tell 15, 18, 20,000 people that you're from Minneapolis, Minnesota, and they go nuts. And that's, as a professional wrestler, that's one of the biggest things that could ever happen to you, to have people that love you.
The Road Warriors, Animal and Hawk, they call themselves the Legion of Doom. Without question, the most devastating team, one of the most devastating teams in all of professional wrestling. However, Precious Paul, a lot of the fans here are wondering, despite the fact of your record, you're new to the AWA, how in the world did you get the title shot at Crusher and Baron von Raschke?
Oh, it's so obvious, like the nose on your face, which, by the way, you can breathe through to keep your mouth shut. 275 pounds, 290 pounds, and a brain. Well, with my understanding the stipulations, ramifications of contracts, and the size and the tenacity of these two men right here, how could they not give us a title shot?
Here we are in our very first trip, one of our first trips in the AWA, and I'm going to wrestle two of my heroes. Baron von Raschke, who was like a three-time All-American at Nebraska, that was a pro wrestler, and the Crusher. Man, the Crusher was like known throughout the world. At his age, the amount of weight that he was bench pressing and everything was respectable to me, because I could understand that with the lifting. But still, two of my idols that I'm going to go in the ring with, that Hawk and I are going to ring with. It was on all the billboards in Las Vegas. It was all over the place that here we are, the Road Warriors going to battle, you know, the Crusher and Baron von Raschke.
Baron getting his pins under him. And of course, the Baron's Tag Team Championship partner is the one, the only, the Crusher. And the Baron, on sheer instinct, oh, he's trying to get over and prevented from the tag off. Out goes the Hawk, in comes the Animal. As he swarms all over, the Baron von Raschke, the Clawmaster.
And we had a great match with him, and Hawk and I were successful and attained the AWA titles.
Hey, first the Warriors ruled the NWA champions. Now we come to bigger and a better and more competitive wrestling circuit, the AWA, and now we're the world champs. You people, you fat people, sitting getting drunk, eating potato chips in front of the TV show, watching Happy Days. Look at these belts. They're the Warriors, and they're never coming off our waist.
You've got to dare to be different to get on the map. They were so in your face, and in the ring, they knocked the shit out of you. I mean, they would knock you down. What you saw was what you got. And the fans could feel that. That's one thing you've got to always remember. You cannot bull the fans. They feel you or they don't feel you. And that's up to you. You make them feel you, you've got a winner.
This year, fans unanimously have voted Precious Paul Ellering the Manager of the Year and the Road Warriors the Tag Team of the Year.
It certainly shook up the mix because they were a very untraditional team that gained the titles in a very untraditional time frame. But it really fit the impactfulness of the combination.
Hardly ever can you go back in time and see where tag teams or a specific tag team dominated that particular area's roster. Because usually it's all, and should be, built around the single title. Rarely did a tag team come in and dominate the scene and dominate the main events and be the main reason for putting asses in seats. The Road Warriors were one of those few tag teams.
We wrestled Crusher and Bruiser in Milwaukee. That was like, you know, here they come out to the Beer Barrel Polka. I mean, you can see Hawk and I in the ring with all our paint-on spikes and, you know, coming down to the ring with Iron Man, all this other music, and all of a sudden here comes the Beer Barrel Polka plays, and the crowd went through the roof.
Vern Gagne's top team, Dick the Bruiser and the Crusher, had been on top for 30 years, and they looked the part in their day, but when these guys came along that were bigger and stronger, and Bruiser and Crusher are the baby faces, and the Road Warriors aren't selling anything for them, and they're just beating them up because that's what they did.
Very first move that Hawk and I did, it's kind of a funny story. Here are two guys that really never left their feet in 25 years of wrestling. The first thing we did then when they came in the ring is I gut shot at one, kicked the other one in the gut. We press slammed them over our head. And I could hear Crusher and I could hear Bruiser going, "What are you guys doing with us?" And Hawk goes, "Anything I want," and slams him, I've never seen anybody get so red in the face.
It hurt Bruiser and Crusher in the eyes of the people. But let's face it, they'd been around for 30 years. Their time had come and gone, and the Road Warriors were what's new. The Freebirds were the most revolutionary tag team of the last 25 years, bar none, because they were the first cool heel.
The Freebirds, myself, Terry Gordy, and Buddy Roberts, were the first to use a rock and roll entrance and rock and roll outfits, and that was breaking a lot of barriers in the late 70s.
Coming from the South, bringing out the Stars and Bars, the Skinnerd music, it was almost a national anthem for young males from the South that wanted to see these long-haired hippies kick the shit out of the establishment.
They had a tremendous amount of charisma.
Why don't you mess with the boys from Bad Street? Because we are Bubba Bad to the bone, and we do drink alone, and nobody tells us what to do.
What a tag team. They were synonymous, typical Southern hillbilly type tag team.
Some of the best matches I remember with the Road Warriors, and maybe they weren't the greatest technical matches, but putting asses in seats. The biggest one I remember was the big fight at Kaminsky Park, and I believe it still holds the attendance record. And that was the night, I believe, that we decided to do for the first time, we were going to answer their face paint with our own type of face paint, which is like we painted our faces like the rebel flags.
Hawk and Animal don't like to do anything but fight. Everything else is boring to them. And fight they can, and now you see the Hawk just doing a number on Freebird Michael Hayes.
You're in there, I don't care who you are. You're me, you're you, you're getting your ass kicked. Plain and simple.
Both of them absolute powerhouses. And both of them will fight you with everything they've got for any reason.
Road Warriors dared to buck tradition, break the mold, and change the system.
I remember one time we went to the ring with the fabulous ones, Stan Lane and Steve Keirn.
Vern and the Powers That Be pulled us into the bathroom, and they said, "We want you to drop the belts."
And Vern goes, "Guys, we want you guys to pull the switch thing." I said, "What do you mean?" "Well, one of the fabulous ones is going to get knocked down. Referee's going to take you back. They're going to pull the switch. You guys are going to get tricked." I said, "Vern, we're street fighters. We're supposed to be street smart punks that you can't trick us." No, you got to do this."
We go out to the match, and they're introducing us, and we're saying to them, "We're not going to do it."
But Steve Keirn had a habit. He wouldn't pay any attention. While the referee's giving the instructions back in those days, he's looking around at girls in the front row, and Stan's kind of flexing and everything, and the Road Warriors walk up to the center of the ring while the referee's talking to him. Animal says, "We're not going for the finish."
And they're looking at each other saying they're not going to do it. They don't really understand.
Here came the Road Warriors, and they start beating the piss out of the fabulous ones.
Finally, that's it. I threw a couple chairs in the ring.
We grabbed chairs, start swinging, bam, bam, bam. Fabulous ones jumped out of the ring. They come back with chairs, double DQ. We went back to the dressing room. Gagne comes in all ticked up. "What are you guys doing?" I said, "What do you mean?" I said it was the right thing to do. The people wanted it that way. They wanted to see us go crazy and stuff. That's what we did. We gave them what they wanted to see. "Nobody's changed the finish on me in 25 years. Nobody does this." I said, "Well, we just did it,"
And I told the guys, earlier in the business, I said, sometimes you just have to take what you want. This is that kind of a business. Yeah.
And from then on, I guess we got reputations of being rebels, but we weren't trying to be rebels. We were just trying to do what we thought was right for the wrestling business, and that was it. When we did not listen to Vern that night, that was all the guys that worked for Vern for years. That's where I think we kind of broke the ice, and they went like this, and they accepted the sin. It took us doing something radical like that for them to accept us.
Once wrestling transcended into entertainment, the musical entrances and the flamboyancy more geared to a younger audience, I don't think Verne Gagne ever got it. At least I know he didn't with us. And he did not know how to express himself when he didn't have it. He was so used to being such a dominant dictator almost. That wasn't going to work with Animal and Hawk. And finally, the Road Warriors saw the writing on the wall and decided to go back to Crockett.
Going from the AWA to the NWA, where Crockett Promotions were, was a big step. Now we're coming back around full circle, and Hawk and I are going into the NWA. Hawk and I had a different attitude coming here this time. So we went in there, and we were bad guys wrestling all their good guy tag teams at the time, until one day I wrestled Ivan and Nikita Koloff, Hawk and I did. As soon as we went down to that match, we were instant good guys. We never changed one thing. We never changed our interview, our look, anything, and we were good guys from that point on.
And the Road Warrior. You got to go the Road Warrior. Try Uncle Ivan. Try Treasure. Try Nikita. It's no matter. By the Bible, you are good now.
The Koloffs was very interesting. Ivan Koloff, his record speaks for himself, and what a great guy. But when Nikita came in and dominated the scene, it gave the Road Warriors and the fans, more importantly, a matchup that they wanted to see.
You Road Warriors going to find out that Nikita is ready. Yes, Nikita, he doesn't have to go out and say a lot of words. He does his action in the ring.
Nikita played his part so well, he didn't speak English for 2 years. And through his Russian dictionary, he started learning Russian words, and all this other stuff, thank you, and Uncle Ivan, As soon as Hawk and I wrestled them, it was like we were representing the USA. Those guys were representing the Soviet Union, and it was just the rest is history there. You could figure that one out. I mean, everybody was going to back up, especially in the Mid-Atlantic area, was going to back the USA guys over the Russian guys.
You get up every morning. You go to work and you work your day, and then you go home. You've worked for everything you've got in your life. Well, the Legion of Doom is no different.
Ivan Koloff was a great ring general. He was a tremendous worker. He's the one that beat Bruno in the Garden in 1971 for the title, after Bruno had held it for 8 years. So he had a name, and he was respected, and he was a nice guy. And Crusher Khrushchev, Barry Darsow, was the Russian sympathizer from Minnesota, and they had a lot of good matches. I think it was a good way for him to get started out.
Let me tell you something, Koloff. I've said it before. You can slap us, you can kick us, you may get lucky, and you may knock us down. But one thing, we're like a couple of old dogs back in the corner. We'll get right back up in your face until we get even and tear you apart.
When the Road Warriors came in, we were the top dogs. And they were the top dogs in the AWA, and that's what made this match so big. So when we collided, it wasn't that they made us or we made them. We both made each other. That's what we needed in North Carolina at the time. Bring those Road Warriors in to up the whole territory and everything.
People like to see Ivan and Nikita get beat up, and the only guys that could do it were us.
Your winners of the match, the Road Warriors.
We had matches everywhere, and they were fantastic. And that was a lot of fun in my life, with Charlotte, North Carolina, wrestling the Road Warriors.
It was a layup. It was the American Street Fighters against the Russians. And then that clearly established the Road Warriors. Hey, we're good guys, but we wrestle like bad guys.
They were rolling the dice, taking a chance at that time when you had the Barry Windhams and the Ricky Steamboats and the Ricky Mortons and the Hulk Hogan type personas that people were accustomed to seeing on that side of the fence. You look at the Road Warriors and you go, wow, those guys are the good guys. That's a bit of a stretch.
The audience was so captivated by their unique look, their mass, their size. They rarely cheated. They never ran. They stood and fought. And, that's admirable. So, consequently, they were always going to swim upstream, in my opinion, as the bad guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, the winners of the Jim Crockett Senior Memorial Cup, the Road Warriors.
the Crockett Cup was something new, and it was really played out on Turner's station there, and for us to win that, it was a big stepping stone.
Well, like winning any award, being the first guys to do it is rewarding. In the final match, it was Magnum TA and Ronnie Garvin, and it was two great competitors. Again, Ronnie Garvin, who's one of the famous Garvin names in professional wrestling, and Magnum TA, who was like the young hot stud in professional wrestling. And to beat those guys, it was definitely an honor. Jim Crockett Cup is right up there on the top, close to the top of the list.
To win the Crockett Cup for the Road Warriors, that was just a huge stepping stone again. And they had so many of them. You know, when they first started, you know, they started out on top. Most people had to start from the bottom and work their way up. They started from the top and grew from the top. And that's what every wrestler's dream is to do, is to start out on the top and grow from there. And it just so happened they did it.
I will tell you something, punk. We were so bad that we were giving our mother kidney punches before we were even born.
Their promos, you know, weren't an artistic success in the sense of, wow, that was clever. But they didn't need to be clever. They didn't try to pretend to be clever.
Nobody gonna do Road Warriors.
Animal would say his few little words, and then he'd go to Hawk, and it'd be...
And let me tell you something. They're all gonna pay the Road Warriors way.
And he'd rattle this stuff off. He was very, very quick-witted man.
When we get done with you, we're going for family members, boys.
Mike Hawk would always add some off-the-wall color thing. He never knew till he got there. Mike was very good like that.
Hey! It's no secret that I'm a few bricks short of a full load, but I got just enough bricks to know one thing, and that nobody besides us deserves a title shot more than us.
And Joel, he was hard-nosed, and we're gonna beat these guys type thing.
Dead men can't feel pain. Kevin Sullivan, I guarantee all the people out there, and especially in our hometown of Chicago, no matter what it takes, we will get you up. And when 16,000 people are cheering for us to rip your head off, we're gonna do it. We're tired of you. Get in our face. We're gonna get rid of you once and for all. Tell them, Paul.
I would try to always summarize the point that made the match draw money.
You know, Bob, the cards are dealt. It's time to play out the hand. And the bottom line is, you gotta go against this man, the Animal. You gotta go against the Hawk. You're facing the best team in professional wrestling today. Let's go and take care of business the only way we know how, and that's to beat them up.
But it was a lot of fun, and we worked at them.
If nature hadn't saw fit to put something that wasn't in your head, I'd put it in there right now and right here.
Well, let me tell you something, Mr. Ellering. I think your boys are a couple of geeks, and I think that if you took your brains and stuck them up a nut's rear end, they'd rattle around like a BB in a boxcar. Did I tell him or what, huh?
About 5 weeks before Starrcade, the Road Warriors had a Japanese tour scheduled. So most people didn't get to beat up the Road Warriors, but on TBS one day, the Midnight Express comes out with a loaded racket and whacks Paul Ellering and whacks Animal in the back, and Bobby Eaton comes off the top rope with 2 knee drops on his back, and we beat the Road Warriors up, and people had never seen that before. So they went to Japan.
Midnight Express, we get a big surprise you ain't ever gonna forget, right, brother? Hey, the surprise is good for us and bad for you.
And before they went to Japan, they had shot this footage.
You people out there, you take a look, and especially you, Midnight Express, you hit a bang on your Animal. What's that say? That says lover boy. There you go, Dennis. I'm gonna show you what happens when you fall off a scaffold.
They were throwing the pumpkins off the scaffold, and they were smashed into a million pieces on the concrete to illustrate what was going to happen to our heads The reason why they wanted the scaffold match is Cornette can't interfere. We know he's scared of heights. So it's just going to be Hawk and Animal and Bob Eaton and Dennis Condrey, the Midnight Express, on this scaffold. And the only way to win is to knock your opponents off to the ground. But it was the most famous match in the history of both of our careers. During that Japanese tour, Hawk cracks a bone in his lower leg.
It was promoted all over, and gosh, we wanted to do it, you know, and so we were apprehensive going into this thing, you know, can we carry it off?
And Hawk had just broke his leg 3 days before in Japan. He cut the cast off in the locker room, and I took athletic injuries in school and college, so I taped up his ankle real hard, put his boot on, and he had a slight limp, but he climbed up that scaffold like there was nothing wrong. The top rail, you know, it had little metal hooks that locked the rail on. They forgot to hook it. He'd have fell 40 feet and broke his neck, easily. That was some of the dangers you dealt with at the time before everything got the way it is today.
A combined weight of 585 pounds. Up top, the Legion of Doom, the Road Warriors.
Now, Hawk and I, when we were coordinated guys, but I don't know too many people that are really secure and happy to be on a 3-foot wide fireman scaffold 30 feet above the ring.
To win this one, Tony, not one, but both men must go off the scaffold.
He climbed that 25-foot scaffold with a broken leg.
And Tony, it's a long, long, long way down. This is absolutely spectacular.
And they're throwing powder in each other's eyes up there, making it slick. And Bobby and Dennis are bleeding, and they're screaming, "We're dumb! We're stupid!" while they're up there.
And we chased Jimmy Cornette into the middle.
Cornette's going up!
Jimmy Cornette is deathly afraid of heights.
I am scared of heights legitimately. I was not athletic by any means. The farthest I've ever fallen is out of bed. But I figured, you know what? If I'm gonna kill myself, this is the biggest show I've ever been on and the only business I ever wanted to be in, and more people are gonna see this than at that time I thought probably anything else I ever do. So if it has to cut, I didn't even tell my wife.
It's Jim Cornette, the Animal, and Paul Ellering.
And when I was up there, I was just thinking, this can't end well, but at least a lot of people are going to see it.
Grabbed on the handle underneath the scaffold, and the thing was, boss man, he had those glasses on, and they were looking up. He was supposed to catch Cornette. I'm saying, man, Cornette's going to drop like a lead brick. There's no way he's going to catch him. Well, Cornette went and fell and blew out both knees. He misjudged him with the glasses on. And those I'm glad they don't do the scaffold matches anymore.
You know, David, a lot of people got to be wondering what the truth is. So it all comes down to what is truth. Is truth something you believe, or is it something that somebody tells you? For us, it's something we believe. We're the baddest cats walking this earth, and we'll do anything to win a match. Think about that, Jim Cornette. We'll do anything.
We snack on danger, we dine on death, and dead men don't make money.
The Midnight Express Road Warrior feud was special in my eyes. I knew all the guys very well, and I liked them all. I was really excited about that, the fact that that really worked. There probably was more that could have been done with that rivalry than creative at the time went with. And as great as the Midnight Express were, one of my all-time favorite teams, I think Jim Cornette's as good a manager, the best manager I ever worked with at ringside.
And for it's over with, I'm going to take his hand and I'm going to slap the taste out of your mouth.
I'm happy for those guys, because that's a great accomplishment. Because Hawk and Animal were a load. They were stiff, and they were thick, and they were heavy, and they were edgy. As Tony Gurria would say, you know, they're two loads of concrete.
We had a ticket to anywhere. We could book ourselves anywhere, and make doggone good money at it.
The business had taken another shot in the arm and had gone to another level, and there were some massive houses being drawn and some amazing numbers being earned.
It was a fun time. I mean, we'd wrestle at night and party later at night.
At that time, a lot of partying, a lot of fun.
Every night that you gathered after an event, at a bar, at a hotel, or at a club or a restaurant, was another adventure.
It got pretty wild sometimes, you know. We'd close the bar down for sure, and with Ric Flair there, they were getting the waitresses were getting $100 tips most of the time. It was just entertaining as heck.
It was a real wild, wide open time, fast lane, and it was everything to the excess, everything. Booze, other stimuli, women, it was always to the excess. Especially down south, it was a lot more wide open. You know, be on the road 300 days a year, maybe more. Playing one-night stands 300 days a year. So there was more money to go around. And some guys handled it very well, and some guys didn't. Hawk and Animal were like brothers. Brothers can be very different. It was as if Joe was the older brother. When decisions had to be made about travel or a hotel or logistics, Joe was the older brother. But when it came time for after hours, Hawk became the alpha male. After hours, he was the man.
Hawk was a lot like we were, as far as this is a once-in-a-lifetime thing, and by God, we're going to have a good time, because a bad time is a waste of time.
If you ever want to find Hawk, just look for the party. He's there, loud and proud at the bar, you know, holding court, having a great time.
I was a babysitter a lot of the time.
Because the LOD knows how to have a good time.
And what was so nice about it for me was I never had to party. So I would always sort of stay back a little bit, but I had just as much fun.
Let's go.
You know, if I would say to Mike, Mike, we gotta leave, he wouldn't argue with me. You know, he knew then it was time to leave if I said something. I didn't have to party with him, but I was there and it was fun.
Two of the most talented guys in professional wrestling ever have got to be Arn Anderson.
Looks like everything's going the way of the Horseman.
And Ric Flair. There were two guys that when Hawk and I were young in the business that really taught us a lot about professional wrestling. I mean, they were not only our competitors, they were also our mentors and teachers in the ring, and we respected that.
The Road Warriors, you know. We're talking about Animal and Road Warrior Big Bird Hawk. That's right. That's a good one, huh? We're talking about you. That's right, Hawk. When we get done with you, Hawk, we're going to stretch that big neck of yours. How about a foot longer? And they're going to call you Road Warrior Big Bird Hawk. You know why? Because we say so.
That's Flair's best right hand right there.
The Road Warriors couldn't have helped but learn a tremendous amount from those guys. I don't know how you could not, even if you didn't want to.
These two men, the Road Warriors, are at home, and they're after the prize they've never had, Jim Ross World Tag Team belts.
That's exactly right, Tony. Arn Anderson going out there against Hawk. Double A Arn Anderson. Sent to the corner by Hawk, and he was met with a knee.
Arn Anderson is prepared. Was prepared.
My God, look at this.
The feud between the four of us and the Road Warriors, Slash Nikita, Slash Dusty Rhodes, any number of guys with the greatest rivalry. They just performed a lot better when somebody was out there on the same page and enhanced them and their look.
It was the crowd and the Road Warriors against the Horsemen. And it worked. The Horsemen were great tacticians, and they were one of the few combinations that could put the Road Warriors in jeopardy and put the Road Warriors in the fans' mind in physical harm. And anytime an antagonist has that ability, they're normally going to be very successful.
The Four Horsemen, their style fit the Road Warriors.
Flares to the wrong corner.
There was a difference in styles. They could make the guys really look good, and we could make them look good just by the difference in style.
So much for that double team.
We didn't dodge anybody. We took the baddest of them all on, and Road Warriors were just two of those guys.
The Road Warriors feud with the Horsemen solidified them as major league players, in my eyes.
Road Warriors both have a lot of ability and deserve to be in the position they were in.
I'm breathing. You understand what I'm saying? You should have got it done. It's violence for the sake of violence. And now I will turn it around to my violence, my lightning bolt, my fire, my thunder. An eye for an eye.
Dusty was the booker for the NWA, Jim Crockett Promotions. Dusty is so smart, he understands the changing of the guard in professional wrestling, and he understands what needs to be done for professional wrestling to go on to the next level. We needed to take the next step and go to the Big Daddy, which everybody was calling the WWE the Big Daddy, all right? We needed to take that, and us turning on Dusty was a part of that growth.
Well, it's 2-on-1, Tony. Well, you knew it would happen, Jim Ross. You knew good and well with all the Road Warriors here that it would be more. And all of a sudden we see Animal. He is taking off one of the spikes. He is taking off a spike, and he has hit Dusty in the head with it.
He just hit Rose right in the face.
Oh, my goodness.
God, he's put it in his eye. He's put the spike in his eye.
He is jabbing him in the eye, or has with the spike. He unhooked it from his shoulder pads or whatever it was, and he's jabbed into Dusty's eye. He's opened Dusty up.
We unscrewed the spike and kind of beat him up a little bit with it. Actually beat him up a lot with it.
They're trying to put his eye out.
This is
They're
horrible.
sticking that spike right in his eye.
But on the flip side of it, we never got booed. We got cheered for doing that. We were getting to a weird part of the business where it was taking a turn that the bad guys, the really ultimate bad guys, were the good guys now.
The NWA was starting to lose ground, and the WWE was starting to edge ahead. The WrestleManias had become bigger and bigger and bigger, and they had built on that concept. And the guys wanted to go to the WWE. They thought it was time to make a move.
We saw the writing on the wall. There was a guy in there who was boss at the time named Jim Herd. Jim was a guy that was always behind the scenes of professional wrestling, really didn't understand professional wrestling. After about a year and a half of this guy, and I was sitting there in the locker room, all of a sudden I hear something fly by my head, and it was the thermostat off the wall, because Hawking threw a chair and hit the thermostat. It was due to the boss at that time, Jim Herd, and all that stuff. Hawk gave us notice, and that's when we stopped for a while.
The WWE has long sold opportunity. And if they were given the green light that, hey, we're going to ride you guys as far as you'll take us, how far is that? Well, let's saddle up and find out. That's what they may have been looking for at that time.
Here we were as a team coming from strictly your Midwest and your Southern territories. Now we're going into the Northeast, which is a whole different beast, a whole different crowd, an angry crowd that'll really let you know if they don't like you.
Don't worry about these guys. They're a proven commodity, but they haven't proven themselves here yet.
By the time they were in the WWE, these guys were pretty well polished individuals, and they knew what it took to be successful, and they had a good run there.
Very impressive, to say the least, the debut of Legion of Doom here on Wrestling Challenge. Brain, I would say look out all other tag teams.
Well, they're a big, tough team. They're vicious, they're strong, they're quick, and obviously they don't care. Look at their haircuts.
It was a conscious effort on our part to say, hey, man, maybe we come in there and we can help this company, we can help each other. And that's the only title we haven't won. Let's go in there and see what can happen. And if they think we're capable of carrying it and carrying the load and carrying the ball, we can do it.
I think they became more entertaining in the WWE than they were in their previous territories.
What a brush.
What a brush.
They'd make you laugh every now and then. Instead of always hellfire, we're going to kick your butt.
One of our first top matches was against the Hart Foundation, Bret Hart and Jim the Anvil Neidhart. We made that transition up there, and we got a standing ovation, which proves that, wow, we must have did something right. And this is where we belong, and it felt so natural to be here.
I would say they're probably one of the most copied teams of all time.
You had your Demolitions come along.
There was a lot of animosity when Demolition was in WWE and the Road Warriors weren't.
Do I feel that Demolition copied the Road Warriors? No, I don't feel that at all.
They could say they didn't, but I mean, I think it was obvious to everybody that they were copying or emulating the Road Warriors.
Whenever anything is really successful, you're going to have carbon copies, maybe not quite carbon copies, but definitely elements of what you do will be picked up by someone else.
The talk in the profession was it was a Road Warrior ripoff.
That's what drew the common interest, because here was the guys that were painted up like the Road Warriors, and here's the originals, and people wanted to see them clash, the Clash of the Titans kind of deal, and everybody wanted to see us triumph.
They've come here to the World Wrestling Federation with only one thing in mind, right?
Yeah, to kick some people around.
They want the gold currently around the waist of Demolition.
Now we're going to be able to go in and face Demolition, prove our point, who's the real Road Warriors, and now we're going to prove a point.
The Legion of Doom, or should we say, Demolition Imposters, spikes and paint all over face. But we're gonna kick the paint right off that face.
You know we should be flattered, but we're not. You stinking Demolition wannabes.
Simple mathematics. What you idiots don't know, there's 3 of us and only 2 of you.
I think the main difference between Demolition and the Road Warriors is that we were really 2 street kids that fought our way and made it in the wrestling business, where Demolition was 2 guys that were already wrestlers in the business trying to be like the Road Warriors. But if you look at the matches, they were totally different.
The Road Warriors manhandled you. They just abused you in the ring. They just took advantage of anybody that they could and made it look good. Where the Demolition, we did that, plus we worked more like a wrestler. Made for TV, I guess you could say.
Demolition, you claim we cost you the Tag Team Championship. Well, you're right. So what are you gonna do about it? Cry in your beer, sob in your schnitzel, or whimper over your wiener?
That was one of those matches where we talk about in the profession where it's a curtain sellout. That means all the wrestlers are looking through the curtains watching the match, you know, from backstage. And that's what happened when these guys went at each other.
We got us an Oktoberfest here, a barroom brawl for sure. It's a brawl, all right, the Warrior. Look the top of him high above. Off the rope and down. 1, 2, 3, yeah. What a victory.
It was like Vince was saying, okay, I have the real McCoy now, and we're going to kind of put this other one aside. It was like satisfaction, gratification, that, hey, now there's no other imitators here. We got it now. You know, and then we went on to win the titles.
We don't like you. We don't like your sweaty punk manager. We don't like the way you look, the way you smell. We don't like your fit. And you got something we want. Those belts, and sooner or later, we're going to take them.
First time we wrestled the Nasty Boys in Madison Square Garden was one of the most memorable matches of my career ever. I've always heard throughout the year the stigma in Madison Square Garden, you know, and it was such a big deal. I think the wrestling fans had waited so long for us to capture those titles. I mean, I'll be honest with you, I was like a little kid when I felt like I won my first Little League game, because that's what my feeling was, man, I made it. And we won the last set of belts we had to win.
The Road Warriors won the titles in every different organization around because they had the look and they could do it.
All the tag team titles that exist in the wrestling world, these guys, the Road Warriors, were the only tag team to hold all of them at one time. When you say how special is that, I don't think it gets any more special than to say out of all the years of wrestling, out of all the tag teams there have been in wrestling, there's only been one team to accomplish that feat, and it was the Road Warriors. And to me, that makes them very special.
Their entrance was one of the most recognizable entrances in the history of the business.
I always remember the "Oh, what a rush." Yeah, I always remember that from their WWE days.
When the music hit and the Road Warriors burst through those curtains, the word that we use in the industry is the pop. The crowd pops. In other words, they explode.
Well, listen to the explosion here, Brain.
You knew conclusively who was coming out when you heard that music.
It was almost perfect. I mean, the look, the fireworks, the music, it was so intimidating. You just couldn't help but be impressed by these guys.
If I'm not mistaken, it was usually Animal who would make the comment of, "Did you hear the pop we got?" And that was kind of snickered at by the rest of us because obviously, yeah, we did hear the pop you got. And when you get a pop like that, 9 times out of 10, you ain't got to tell nobody about it because it's unmistakable.
Oh, no. Oh, no. You know who that is? Who is that? Oh, wait a minute.
Vince and the WWE brought me back in for the WrestleMania in Indianapolis.
You know what we've been? We've been a runaway train. Nobody driving it. Scary, Haji. Yeah. Scarier now. Look who's driving the train. You know, the missing piece of the puzzle is complete.
Uh-oh. Look at this. 80,000 fans. Oh, yeah. Rocco on his way to the ring. The dummy's driving the mic. Rocco along with Paul Ellering. Bringing up the rear there was Hawk and Animal right behind. What an entrance.
Wembley Stadium was phenomenal. I've never been in front of, 89,000 people. I've never been in front of that many people ever.
Them going to the UK at that point in time, that was a big deal. And they're a big part of the success of that event.
We were riding Harleys down to the ring. It was so loud. It gave you goosebumps. It's a feeling almost undescribable.
It looked like they were almost like a religious experience, like they were parting the sea of humans. It was really cool.
And that whole night was a wild night itself, man. I remember for whatever reason or another, my partner was not exactly totally on the up and up going to the ring. And he drove the Harley too close next to mine. I could not get off next to the wall because I was too close to the barricade, so I had to get off on the opposite side of the bike that you're not supposed to get off of. And my right calf stuck to the muffler. And my tights stuck to my calf. And I'm there, Ellering's going, "What's the matter with you?" I said, nothing. I said, "Look at my leg." And I had to do the whole match like that. It was brutal. It was an exciting night, though. It was a great trip, and it was a nice experience, and one of the best experiences of my career.
I have a hard time being convinced that they were any more popular on any one more night than they were that day in Wembley.
We went and we did the match, and after the match, Mike being Mike, he just disappeared, and he ended up, you know, on some back street somewhere.
It's not that he would sit there and wake up today and say, "Hey, okay, well, how messed up can I get today?" He never had that conscious thought, but he also, if somebody said, "Yo, Mike, let's meet at the bar and have a couple belts or something," he would be willing to please and be a buddy and everything else, and one thing was lead to another. And if he was with the wrong guy, it would go a different path. There's your typical, you know, muscle relaxers, Vicodins, Percodins, cocaine, area, you know, basically. You know, any type of new thing that would come about, the guys would try it.
Can it make it easier? Being a star, is it more prevalent? Is it easier to obtain drugs? Is it easier to get hooked on something? Yes, if you let it. It's not the business, it's you.
It's one thing to sit down with your buddies and have a couple of beers. It's another thing to sit down with your buddies and drink a case. And then drive to another bar and drink another case. There's something wrong with that equation. So Hawk was known for his excesses.
Well, I hear guys say, man, Hawk, man, you're the man. I can't believe you can do as much of this as you can do as, you know. I'm saying, man, like, these guys are not your friends. I said, one of these times, somebody's gonna get really sick, OD, something's gonna happen.
One of the first things you ask back in the early 80s when you got in the locker room is, everybody here? Yep. What kind of mood's Hawk in? Everybody was always concerned about what kind of mood Hawk was in because a lot of guys were afraid of him. And they perceived him to be unpredictable.
There was times where you know, without realizing he did it, he'd go to press lam guys and almost drop them on their head.
Thank God no one that I'm aware of off the top of my head got seriously injured.
He was ultimately going to go all the way until he would have died.
His mood swings were contributed by either alcohol and or drug abuse.
Hawk had his own private feuding thing with Vince going on.
Vince had a drug policy, and it was offered to Mike to go in for treatment, and Mike didn't feel he needed that, and that was the end of that.
You know, Animal was never an issue.
I always got along good with Vince, with everybody around the company, and Hawk just was the rebel. That's just was Hawk. He was just the rebel, and he was not very confrontational, but he wouldn't back away from conflict either.
Hawk would say whatever came to his mind. He didn't think before he spoke. And sometimes in situations, whether negotiating a deal or whether finding out what you're going to do in the ring or outside the ring, Hawk would sometimes just blurt out what he wanted or did not want to do, which I think did hurt the Road Warriors a lot.
Yeah, I think because of Hawk's downfall with Vince, it affected a lot of business for both of us. Unfortunately, the thought process, he forgot that we're a team, and he made a personal decision which affected the team.
He just didn't want to change badly enough to get over the hump and stay there. Joe had a real challenging time.
Hawk hooked up with the London chapter of the Hells Angels, and we never saw him again after that.
He was a troubled soul at that time.
Hawk had called and talked to Vince's secretary at the time and said, "This is Hawk. I've had enough, I quit." And that was it.
By the time the LOD got through with the WWE in the early 90s, the AWA was essentially a wasteland. The NWA, they'd kind of been there and done that, so they lost a lot of leverage. And a lot of that was because people just didn't know what to expect of Hawk on a day-to-day basis.
It was hard to me because I felt like I was being deserted by my partner. I thought it was unprofessional and not cool what he did, leaving me in the business at the time. He was listening to the guys like Jake Roberts, who was not always on the straight and narrow a lot of times, unfortunately, but feeding him, oh, Animal saying this and that, instead of Mike just taking him for granted, hey, I've been with you for so many years, you should believe me. He was believing all these things the other guys were saying, kind of like schoolyard garbage, and he ended up quitting. Being a businessman, I went ahead and I finished out the rest of the bookings that LOD was booked on. I went over to Japan, wrestled a match that was supposed to be a tag, and it was actually 2 against 1 against the Beverly Brothers. It was out of that match there that I got a double suplex put on me, and I landed the wrong way where I couldn't feel my legs. And finally, I felt the burn coming back, and I ended up hurt eating 2 or 3 discs. So that's when I took some time off, and Hawk took off and went to Japan by himself. When Hawk first left for Japan, I was really irritated with him. He wasn't just damaging the Road Warrior legacy and everything else, which was the least important at the time. He was damaging my family and my income and my support for my family too. I wasn't so much against him doing it, I was against him going without asking me to go with him.
When you're used to relying on somebody in the corner and all of a sudden you're out there alone and you don't have that guy in the corner that you can depend on, it brings an entirely different mindset to the game.
Sometimes you're caught up with that substance abuse world when you're not thinking in the right mind and the right head, and that's exactly where he was going. He should know after all those years that anybody was going to have his back was going to be me.
The Japanese tried to create their own version of the Road Warriors, and I think it was just lukewarm at best.
It was good of him in his heart to take a kid who was at the bottom of the ladder and help build him to the top of the ladder. Kensuke Sasaki went from this immediately in Japan, where Hawk was this, to right here. Hawk made him into a superstar. I think the fans had mixed emotions. I think the Japanese fans liked it because they're helping out one of their own. The American fans, I think, they looked down on it big time.
There's a reason that Hawk and Animal, the Road Warriors, worked, because it was Hawk and Animal together. But when you took them away from each other, a lot of the magic left.
People used to always ask me, you think Hawk and Animal will get back together? And they talked every day almost, because they were like brothers, and yeah, I always thought they'd get back together.
It took me about a year or two to get over it, though, before I really stopped being hot about it. But he and I had talked after about 6 months and everything else, because he would get a little defensive of some of the interviews that I would do, professing how I felt about it. I said, well, hey, man, if you didn't like it, you should have done it. And then he wanted to reconcile, and I said, well, you know, this reconciliation period should have happened earlier, too.
I don't know that Hawk's single years without Animal were good for him, because he didn't have his conscience looking over his shoulder.
It would have been really a loss of everybody involved if we didn't get back together and say, okay, hey, we did some wrong, and go on and make this thing work.
I think probably it added years onto Hawk's life, and certainly to his career, when he and Animal were able to reunite. It kind of put some of the old checks and balances back in place.
I will admit, I was leery that it was going to work. I didn't know how the fans were going to react on a 4-year hiatus of not being on TV or nothing together.
Long time no see. This is beautiful. Woo! Hey, good to see you back. You know, Steve, it's good to see you too, brother. And it's great to be back home in World Championship Wrestling. All right.
The advantage that the Road Warriors had is that they had been in the business a long time. They had started in Minneapolis with Verne Gagne and the AWA and became significant characters there, and their first time into WWE, and became larger-than-life characters there. So coming into WCW, they had that longevity, which I think is critical.
Business is business. Eric Bischoff, you're out here saying these guys could probably be the most powerful force in professional wrestling. But in the World Championship Wrestling, in order to be the best, you gotta beat the most powerful tag team in professional wrestling. So anytime, anywhere, we want those belts.
Whatever the fans want, the fans get, and I think the fans always want to see the Road Warriors.
I remember the time we wrestled Sting and Luger in WCW when we did have the comeback, and people gave us a standing ovation. Wow, man, it was like we never left the ring.
I was a little ticked off when the Road Warriors did reunite, come back and challenge Sting and Luger, because I thought at that time the Harlem Heat was the hottest tag team going, and I always wanted to get in the ring with the Road Warriors and test our skills and see who was the best tag team.
We were the only guys when WCW had their deal with Japan that WCW would go to Japan and we would be dressing with the Japanese guys because we were so close and over in Japan. So that kind of really ticked off WCW because they had a contract going with New Japan. New Japan said, yeah, all other gaijin, which means all other Americans, but Road Warriors are separate. That really made them mad. So when we approached Eric Bischoff, we said, hey, man, we want to have a separate contract with Japan, a separate contract with you guys to work. He said, yeah, okay, no problem. He goes, I will make you my second highest paid guys in WCW. 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 months, 2 months. Never came true. He never did it.
You know, I'm not sure what Animal's talking about in terms of me offering him different types of contracts. People have a tendency to kind of recreate history to suit their own needs and goals at the time. So to be honest with you, I may have. I don't remember what the details were. It was quite a long time ago, and their contract was one of probably 150 agreements that I've negotiated over the last 8 or 9 years. So I honestly don't remember the specifics.
You promised us you're going to give us a contract. You're insulting our intelligence by not giving us one. You're making us wait all this time. We're losing out on all this income, and we just took off and went.
From my point of view, they weren't nearly as valuable as they thought they were, based on the impact that they were having in the ratings. So I'm sure at some point they had a difference of opinion in terms of what their perceived value from their perspective was versus my view of what their value was.
We couldn't make any other impact unless we came back and were tag team partners again with WWE.
They hadn't burned a bridge here to the level of you can't go rebuild it and cross it again. This company has brought back all kinds of wrestlers that left under less than advantageous circumstances.
I think it was no secret why we left. And I think they were trying to forget all that and put a different frame of mind on it, a different twist. That's why they put Sonny with us. It had to be WWE because it was the only way it was going to get that reaction that we needed to be the Legion of Doom or the Road Warriors.
It was just an attempt by these guys, which everybody has to try to do, to stay current, to reinvent themselves for the new, younger fan base.
A new hairstyle, maybe a new attitude, apparently a new manager. Wow! I might become an LOD fan myself with that manager.
I had a friend of mine who airbrushes all the helmets for goalies in the NHL. So he did our shoulder pads that way for the LOD 2000 and did the masks. And everybody liked them, but Hawk didn't like the masks. Marketing, they loved them. They made action figures with them, and they sold like crazy and were cool, but he didn't like them. So he threw it out in a crowd one day, and some fans got it somewhere around the country somewhere. But that's just the way Mike was. He didn't like it, he got rid of it.
You see, some time ago, when we were two punks in Chicago, there was a great man who came and saw success in us. He brought us into the wrestling world. He got us to win every title possible in wrestling. And now, once again reunited, Precious Paul Ellering, get out here!
What? Precious Paul Ellering?
We thought he was coming back to be our manager, totally 100%.
I want to introduce you to my new team, 8-Ball and Skull.
It was a setup.
It was a tremendous challenge, again, to go back in '98 and work with another tag team opposite of Animal and Hawk for a while and make it work.
We had no idea that they had thought of putting him with DOA to be their manager. It was a real personal subject. I mean, Ellering turning on us.
But you want to know what the problem with the Legion of Doom is?
Yes.
Go ahead, Adam.
Yes, I certainly would. What?
They are prisoners of their own memories. All they can remember is the glory years.
It was hard for him, he said, to do interviews yelling at us and cutting us down and ripping on us because he just couldn't find something to say. Even as talented as he was interviewing, he had a hard time with it.
Our plans for LOD 2000 were to use the Road Warriors as a catalyst to elevate and launch Droz.
Introducing from the south side of Chicago, Puke.
We had very high hopes for Droz, physically tough, colorful, had charisma. He could regurgitate on cue. Just tell him to vomit, and he could. I don't know where that gets you in the grocery store, but be that as it may, he has some unique skills.
One of the times I think Hawk failed a drug test, they put Droz with me. They asked me, is this a possibility for another member of LOD? And I said, we never really thought about it. I said, but at this point in time in our career, I suppose we could have a safeguard.
This is LOD, the Road Warriors, Animal and Hawk and Droz. It was like, some people didn't take it, but other fans took with it.
I think he could have been a great addition to the LOD. Definitely the look and the tattoos and everything fit right in with us.
One thing I can tell you for sure is that Droz has breathed new life in the Legion of Doom.
The Road Warrior pop they always just talk about. It makes your hair stand up, and it's like, I'm walking out, ooh, I'm a Road Warrior. I got my first paint kit. Animal's like, here, I'm tired of using my stuff.
Yeah, Droz was not very good at painting. Yeah, I had to paint Hawk's face quite a bit, too. One of the reactions of one of the medications you take is shake like this. So I look over see his face all different, you know, and hold on, and wipe it off, and I'd repaint it.
It seems like Droz and Animal have forged quite a bond, but Hawk still, who is now the official alternate LOD member, doesn't quite fit in, it doesn't seem like anymore.
I know that the office did that because that was a backup in case Hawk really fell by the wayside, I think. I think that's what they did it for.
It looks like Hawk has not only fallen off the wagon, but the wagon has run him over.
The fact that a man had been and was battling his proverbial demons was what this guy was dealing with almost on a daily basis. And at that point, it seemed like he had things under control to the level that he could converse on television about it as Hawk.
We are live, ladies and gentlemen, and obviously Hawk is battling some personal problems and seemingly is in no condition for the LOD to take on the Southern Justice here.
There was the heat that was there that he was trying to make that heat subside with Vince, and so he was trying to make that go away. Hawk stepped up and said, I'll do it. I said, you sure? I said, man, they're going to be opening up a lot of can of worms with you. And he says, yeah, I'll do it.
Hawk needs help. He doesn't need to be here wrestling. He doesn't need to be here in the ring. He didn't even put on his wrestling. Look at him. Now he's tagging Kurgan. He doesn't even know whose partner he is. He doesn't even know what corner he's in. Ooh.
It flew faster than hotcakes because everybody knew what he did in the past.
Oh, here we go. Oh, no, wait a minute. Hawk's going up. Oh, he fell off the rope. My God.
What they had him doing was so close to home, it was almost like a mirror image. And I said, this is too close to home, man. This is opening up some old wounds we're trying to put away.
And I'm trying to reason with Hawk, but you can't reason with somebody in that frame of mind, folks. You know what we're talking about there.
We shouldn't be embarrassed about it. In my view, it's an illness, it's a sickness, and there's treatment for it. No different than having any other illness that's diagnosed and is treatable.
Not that I was against doing it, but I felt bad for Hawk on that aspect. But I'll tell you what, though, it was done very well because I had a lot of people come up to me. Did he really fall off the Titantron?
Get up! Hey, get the hell away from me! You're the last person I want up here. Get away! It's all right, brother.
Hawk, come on now, be careful up there. Hey, let Droz help you, hold on.
Fall.
Mike, be careful, don't move. Don't move! You've been my brother for so long! Don't move!
It's all right. Don't touch me. Brother, it's all right. Don't move.
Get a shirt. No. Oh, what? God almighty. Good God.
Unfortunately, and I loved him, unfortunately, some of my more significant memories of Hawk were with him messed up. I think we all knew it was time for him to get help and to get off the road.
He is proof positive that you can't say that nobody can change. Because prior to that, I would have said, no way, not Hawk.
After leaving here, I think he made a conscious decision that he had to make some changes.
He found religion, and it was the best thing that ever happened to him.
When Hawk finally became a born-again Christian, I thought that was the greatest thing that ever happened to Hawk.
He changed all that, and he got his life right. And I tip my hat to him for that.
We were the same way, and he was fun, and himself. He was the Mike Hickstrom I met 20 years ago. The fans never, ever thought anything of it. They saw right through it all, and they always appreciated it and loved us and cheered for us. And proof of it was when we did Raw and SmackDown the last time. We wanted to have our last run and go out with a bang with Vince, our very last run. I knew there was probably a trust factor there with the WWE, with Hawk. You gotta be true this time. Is it gonna be straight? Is this really gonna be the real deal? I know before we came in to do Raw in Philadelphia, I know there was like 6, 7, 8 times he tried to call and talk to Vince. He just wanted to call and apologize and say, hey, I'm a new man. I did what I did. I wasn't thinking. That's why when we went and did Raw, Hawk wanted to prove that he was going to be a man about it and do the job the right way.
What? Oh, wait a minute. You've got to be kidding me. Oh, my God. It's the Legion of Doom. It's Hawk and Animal. Where did these guys come from?
There were no apprehensions. They're still a big attraction. They still got a great pop. Their music still got the fans to their feet.
Even when I caught Rob Van Dam when he went to throw me with that spin kick and I caught him and I powerbombed him, they went, ooh, all right, here come the LOD again. I think it could have worked out and could have been a nice last run.
You know, I got a call from Joe. You know, Joe called me up and said Mike had died.
He goes, I got to go move some boxes out and help my wife. I'll call you back later. So he moved all the heavy stuff in and out of his house for his wife, and it was like he knew he had to get it all done because there was no heavy stuff left to move, that he was going to go.
For him to pass away, it was just, you know, it was really, like I said, numbing, but it was devastating too, and just really, you know, really hurt and really hit home.
Hawk was one of those guys that you just didn't think would ever die.
It was like he knew that he only had so much time to go, and he wanted to go the right way and make sure everything was paid or whatever there for his wife, and that's the way he went. That's what it seemed like.
It was like losing a brother, which is something you never get over. Now, not only was Hawk a brother to Joe, or Animal, he was also a partner. And it's almost, I guess, would be like losing a husband or wife. It's very hard, traumatic. Animal's still not over it, and I don't know if he'll ever get over it.
You know, the day he died totally clean toxicology, nothing in the system. You know, because there's not like there's any friends you can call to say, hey, let's hide it. You know, once the state gets you, they're going to test you, and that's exactly what they did with Hawk. You know, they did the complete autopsy on him and everything, so.
He just couldn't control his demons. They got the best of him. And when he finally said that's enough, it was too late.
I'll tell you, Hawk's got the biggest heart out of anybody I knew. I'm telling you, he would give you the shirt off his back. He would stop. I remember in the airport, sometimes we'd stop and there'd be the guys begging. He'd pull out $100 and just give it to the guy. And I'd say, Hawk, what if the guy's working you? He goes, well, he obviously needs it more than me if he's sitting there having to do that. He says everybody's a person, and if he's got to dig down low to actually have to beg for money, you know what? Then he's a better man than I am, because I don't know if I could beg for money. He says, but he helped out a lot of people.
He was so giving. He'd give the shirt out, oh, he'd give you anything. He gave all of his love away, and God wanted him.
He had a hell of a life. Fast lane, bright lights, loud music, made a lot of money, affected a lot of careers in a positive way.
A World Tag Team title matchup, and the Dudleys dedicating their efforts tonight to the late Mike Hegstrand.
What Dudleys did in honor of Hawk, I thought was probably one of the most classiest things I've seen done in professional wrestling.
Oh, look at this. You know what this is? I sure do. That's the Doomsday Device from the LOD.
They did a version of Doomsday, and, you know, they pointed up to the sky where Hawk is. It was a tough moment, you know, to see that. That was a real high-class professional act.
To be able to have the longevity that they had and stay together, it just shows you really deep inside what kind of people they really were. They were decent, patient, loyal to each other, and I respect that in those two guys. They changed the face of tag team wrestling, and they made a style of their own, and they made it a very unique style, a style that a lot of people imitated, but very few people duplicated. Two tough guys that came along at the right time in this business, and they entertained the people each and every night, and that will be their legacy.
They did the one thing that you have to do to be successful. They could put an ass every 18 inches. They could sell tickets. Bottom line.
They are the greatest tag team of all time. They are the best, and I'm just so very, very fortunate and lucky to have been part of it.
I know that my professional life and my personal life as well is better off because I got to spend time with those two. I can't say that about a lot of people.
With 21 years together, you'd have to say the Road Warriors were the most enduring powerhouse of a tag team in history.
I felt that these guys changed wrestling. They changed tag team wrestling. They changed the way tag teams wanted to appear. They changed the way tag teams wanted to wrestle. 50 years from now, they'll be looking back and saying, this was one of the best, one of the most innovative, and maybe the tag team of all time.